the movements that happened. During COVID, Black Lives Matter was one of the biggest movement that happened when one of the blacks were killed. So all of these movements like the LGBTQIA movement happened because of the availability, easy availability, access to internet and of course social media. So the reach is really really far and wide, and you can currently sit here in India and probably if you want to kind of help monetarily, or even in any different way, you can do that to your friend who's sitting in the other part of the world. So that's a huge advantage of internet and social media. So use of social media for promotion and advertising, it's a huge marketing tool. All the big brands, from Facebook to Amazon to TikTok, the giants of social media have been completely leveraging the whole social media, and they've been using it for calculating using matrices to calculate the users, number of users, consumers, clients, all of that. So it's a huge marketing tool. People can connect through social media. Again, one of the major reasons for such a boon of social media per se. So social media is a good source of up-to-date information, but at the same time, the con is fake news on social media. We keep hearing about WhatsApp universities and a lot of misinformation that gets passed on during solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, and so many different ideas that has absolutely baseless information that gets rotated. So it is of course a good source of up-to-date information. We kind of leveraged WhatsApp, especially the school groups use it maximum, the college and the educational groups, office going people use it to their extent during COVID time, and to get all the information, to get homeworks, to get the resources that was otherwise wouldn't have been easily available. So yes, it has both pros and cons. Social media is beneficial to education. Sorry, yeah. To drive traffic to your websites, to basically when you have a page on social media, it improves your incoming to the website that you actually want the consumers to go to. So many pros and cons. So let me not get into the details of it. Government benefit from social media. All the government departments these days have a Twitter handle, and they're extremely responsive. Very recently I had shared an information about the railways that use their Twitter handle to the maximum. So nowadays it's like a huge one of the most cardinal thing for them to have a social media handle, and very responsible, and there are social media managers in each department. So entertainment, of course, one of the reasons why we all lose our time is all the entertainment that is freely available on social media. Social media causes depression and loneliness. I'll definitely get into that. It causes sleep issues. Like I said, I'll definitely get into the how the chemicals work basically here, and how does it lead to depression and loneliness. So the psychology behind likes, comments, and shares. Um, we all get a high when we get a like on one of our pictures, right? It's part of our our presence on social media. The comment that we get and the like that we get on each of our posts it gives a very minute adrenaline rush to all of us. So let's try and understand what is the whole psychology behind the likes and share. So it's why do we likes the likes on the post that I'm talking about? So it's not a news that we love to talk about ourselves, on a daily day-to-day basis. 30 to 40% of our speech is basically about us. This is a study that was done, and if you now from now start kind of looking deep into it, you will understand that you actually speak a lot about yourself. And when it comes to online, the number jumps to about 80%. So that is like a huge jump, and where we really like to kind of speak a lot about ourselves. One of the reasons is why, because you kind of filter all of that you want to say put across on a social media, right? And when you want to talk to somebody face to face, it becomes a little bit more messier. So which is why texting has become a huge way mode of communication. Some people have become very comfortable to text and communicate what they have to say. People who are introverts, they are finding it as a mode to communicate, right? So one of the reasons why we like the likes is because when somebody gives us that like, it kind of brings a lot of positiveness to us. When we put it across online, it's there's a lot of time to think about what to put across. You can go back, edit your information. Even after you put it, you can edit your information. You can put in a lot of filters on your pictures, so there's a very refined form of you, right? So that is one of the reasons why we really like those likes. Now, what is also interesting for marketers is that the most prominent way we tend to work on self presentation is through things, buying things. So a lot of us relate our value to the brands that we use, which is why I put up this quote. We almost always use things as a way to identify ourselves and to identify others, right? So when I say brand, it is just not the product I'm talking about, but let's say a trip to a foreign land, that kind of actually defines this a particular person, about how they are doing or what they are doing. So there is always a relation that we give to the brand that the particular person is using, or the couple of people that they are surrounded, if they are using a particular brand, and the value that we actually give to these brands, right? And we kind of evaluate people on these things. So this is one of the reasons why we put things up there, and we really like those likes, because it kind of validates our existence, right? Um so the intensity of emotion people can feel for their brands as a result is also very incredible. So there was an experiment where they had actually put up their brand, and also their closest friends picture. The physiological changes that they saw in the subjects was same. When they saw the brand and their favorite person, it's the same response that came up. So that's how much they people try to connect to their favorite things and the brand that is related to it. So brands that can create aspirational way. The sad part is the as in the companies kind of leverage this entire the vulnerability of human beings. The next question is, why do we really share? What is the reason why we share things? When we like to talk about ourselves, why would we share about other people, right? Sharing is basically again, it kind of gives you a validation, and it kind of gives you an opportunity to show what you have achieved till now. They also say that it is when you share, it is almost like caring. So when you are actually sharing the information online, it is a way to connect to people as well, right? So it strengthens relationships. And if you actually look at it on a deeper level, all of our relationships are based on sharing a lot of information. Even when if you think about a family get together, there is a lot of information that gets shared, right? And that kind of brings us closer. It could be gossips, it could be talking something about the other person. That kind of strengthens the bond. So there are a lot of researchers which talks about what is the reason why great mind communication is one of the most interesting way of keeping people closer. So I'm not getting into that, but 78% showed that it strengthens relation. The reason why we share actually kind of strengthens the relationship. Also, it's a, like I said before, self presentation, and is also one of the reasons why we kind of share all of our information. um, so there's something called a social currency. I don't know if you understand by social. What social currency does is, when you put across something, there is and when you're a likable, when the post is a likable person, when you are a likable person, there is a huge increase in your kind of stock. Your stock basically goes up, your value kind of goes up, and that makes people feel really better about themselves. So when your value goes up, it's called a social currency. It's like you become a commodity, and your value goes up, and the whole stock is basically called a currency. It is given the money's it becomes equivalent to the value of a money. um, Next, if we go to, yeah, why do we like our posts, and why do we like others posts? So again, there was a lot of research done on why we like others posts. One of the reasons is reciprocity. So basically, when you like somebody's post, when somebody likes your post, it kind of becomes an obligation to like their post back, right? It is not probably because you like the post. Probably you probably don't even understand what the other person have put across, or what the other person is trying to say. But there is a theory of reciprocity that actually works here. So it is kind of it's almost like a barter system, where you actually receive something from the other person, and you have to, that's an obligation to give back as well. And there were so many researches again done on this reciprocity, the whole idea of reciprocity. There was this particular research where somebody randomly sent 600 cards across to random people, and he received back, this is during Christmas, and he received back 200 cards. That itself shows how important reciprocity is, for us. In Indian households, when you get a sweet or something is sent by the neighbors, you feel obligated to give it back to them. So you don't give a khali ball back to them. You put something in that and you give it back. So that's exactly how reciprocity works when it comes to like. Why do we comment? Now this is a very interesting section, because it takes us to a much deeper level of thinking. So one of the reasons why comment happens is it is a shared reality. It's called a shared reality. So a lot of people come together to have a shared opinion about something, and people can actually manipulate a lot of things through the comment section. So there were again a lot of studies, and in one of the studies, somebody had written about an author a very bad review. People who had actually liked the book also started hating the author. This is kind of a manipulation that happens across political parties, in not just nationwide, at the national level, but at the global level. So maybe you are against a certain political party, or maybe you are against a certain belief, but because the group goes with one particular thought, it becomes your kind of your conscience basically doesn't let to step out of that particular group, because you need acceptance, social acceptance. Another reason why people go to comment section and comment is to understand the information. So when something is put across, you don't understand what exactly happens, so you go to the comment section to get a an idea about what exactly is being put, and how exactly are people thinking the way that you are thinking. Do you share a very similar ideology, or is there anything else that you missed out on? So a lot of people initially may like an idea, but when the group that they belong to go against it, you have a tendency to go against it, which is why people become black sheeps in the family, or in your group, where they have a different opinion. So research says that 85% uh, you know uh, uh, shows that people go to comment section and people comment on it to understand the information. And also, when it comes to companies or businesses, for them it is a very important platform to interact with their customers, to understand what exactly happens. And so they get a lot of information from the comment section, and they keep things going through the comment section, right? There's another very important point that we need to understand, that the comments tell a lot about you. So it is also a way of reflection. It's about what exactly you think, and probably a business or a particular a page would follow you because you think in a certain way. Now this can actually go back to the algorithm that actually works, which is why sometimes when you open YouTube, it shows things that you actually want to see, or it shows things that you actually like, right? So it's called the social media algorithm. Basically that's a lot of technicality. It shows what you want to see. So again, comment section always shows what exactly you are as a person, which is why we comment a lot. Now there was a lot of information about emojis and selfies and all of that. I didn't want to get too much into it in detail about the whole thing, because selfies and emojis and all these things are it talks a lot about your self esteem and how you perceive yourself. uh, it goes into much deeper layers of you as a person. Social comparison, this has always existed, right? You comparing your child to another child, you comparing your spouse to another spouse or another person, your social status. So social comparison has always been there. Social media has only kind of pushed it a little ahead, and hence which takes me to the next section, which is the mental health of people using social media excessively. Now how many of you can tell me that there wasn't a point when you were scrolling mindlessly through one of these social medias? I don't think there would be any of us who are not guilty about it. It is everything. It does not just mean you getting stuck on Facebook or Instagram or scrolling mindlessly through Pinterest. It could be an argument that you have been having on Twitter, or just mindlessly going through one after the other videos on YouTube or Snapchat, of course. The Gen Z understands it much better than the millennials and the older generation. But there it has definitely, these mindless scrolling has definitely affected our mental health in ways we can't really imagine. So basically it goes boils down to the same old thing, which has sadly become the common factors of the current era. One is addiction, anxiety, isolation, depression, and loneliness. The major one that we need to look into is addiction. So it is in many studies compared considered equivalent to drug addiction and drug abuse. So this is called the reward brain pathway. So if you can see, this is you know the entire reward pathways, wherein one of the most important uh, pathway is the nucleus accumbens, which is here. So this is which this part of the brain is what acts during addiction. Now, what happens is basically when you get these likes and comments, and when there is somebody who is actually interacting a lot with you through the social media, there is a dopamine, release in the system. Now, continuously releasing of dopamine actually leads to addiction. So this is the neurobiology of addiction, if you actually look at it, and then you become compulsive user of it. You really cannot live without not using your checking your phone, and one at least once going through your social media account. This becomes a habit. This becomes said, it is another way of another form of abuse, which is as severe as drug abuse or an alcohol abuse, right? So the brain moves from liking something, like you suddenly discover this platform like Instagram, you like something, to wanting it, and that is not a good place to be. There's a huge difference between liking something, because like basically the time period of a like is very little, but when it comes to wanting, until you get that thing, then the want continues, right? This is again how a brain looks when you become addicted to social media. So like it's written, prolonged excessive internet use could lead to partial disintegration of the cerebellum, the prefrontal cortex. Basically, prefrontal cortex is responsible for your decision making, major cognitive skills like logical reasoning, thinking. All of that starts getting affected. The supplementary motor cortex, the anterior cingulate cortex, or the anterior cingulate gyrus, like they say, which is responsible for your emotion. In fact, there have been studies which says that you become very less empathetic after using social media excessively, right? It affects your work capacity, it affects your mind, it affects the way you think. So there it basically takes you to into a level where you it's difficult to rewire the entire system and get you back to normal processing. Again, the hormones, the happy hormones, that like we call them, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, these are all getting controlled because there's excessive release of cortisol, which is the stress hormones, and that gets into your bloodstream, by through which all of these basically come down, and then it becomes a mess inside your head, which is why excessively when you use, you feel very lethargic also. When you're mindlessly scrolling through social media and then you come out of it, there is a feeling of what am I doing with my life, or this is sad, prolonged sadness, which is just not good for your everyday well-being. So, how to cut down your dependency on social media? This is should be an open forum, and I would like you all to contribute and tell me, how do you think that this can be, the dependency on social media can be brought down?
Ma'am, good evening. Can I just say something?
Definitely, please, ma'am.
Ma'am, there's a way of you just need to divert your mind and come out of the. If you think you have an addiction towards the social media, and you can cultivate other hobbies and interests, and
Perfect.
that is one way. And you can connect with people and just avoid that, and just keep fixed hours for connecting with people also. That is
Absolutely.
another.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Anita, ma'am.
welcome, ma'am.
May I be?
Please, please.
I'm thinking we can have a uh, screen fasting, like we fast on food, we can fast on screen maybe one time, morning 6 to day 2 o'clock, or one day in a week we can just keep off our screen time, if possible. I mean, a lot of people are working on screen, but unnecessarily uh, using the screen time, unnecessarily getting hijacked with the screen is a lot of wastage of time. So we can have a day fasting, like Sunday. I'll not touch my mobile for 4 hours, 5 hours every day. It's timetable. That could be one of the way, I think.
Absolutely. In fact, there are all these phones these days come with time limitations. So you can actually set each application. In fact, applications from Instagram and YouTube, they all have the statistics which actually shows, the number of hours that you've actually used the application, during a day. And then towards the end of the week, they actually show you the screen time. How much has it gone up and how much has it gone down? But I don't know how many of us really, give it so much importance. Yes, I saw somebody raising their hand. All right. So, like Anita ma'am said, uh, I don't know, Bijaya ma'am said, the perfect way to actually control your, cut down your dependency on social media is to treat social media like a treat. So, sharing, like with all the information that I gave you, sharing is good. It gives you a rush for a very few moments. What happens is it's also affecting your vision, your hearing sense, and all of that. So we need to understand, for all of our rest of our work also, we need all these, senses to be actively working, right? One of the ways we can cut down our dependency on social media is to actually cut down the time we spend, and by keeping the limitation and treating it like a treat. Once you're done with all of your work, which actually kind of gives you the productivity, and which needs your attention, complete attention, once that is done, like you have a dessert after your food, you can give yourself a little bit of time and just scroll through social media to see what is happening. Because let's face the reality, the world from now on is actually going to be working on social media. Today we get things, especially if you're from India, everything is in fingertips. So if you need something right now, there are applications like Dunzo and Blinkit. Right now, they get things earlier. At least, let's say 6 months ago, you had to wait for a day. Amazon, Myntra, all of them have come up with fast delivery. Fast delivery. Let's they're one of the ways to promote their business is the whole idea of fast delivery. So things have become very easy. So but what we need to do is, we need to remember that very human connection is the most important thing right now. Social media might give you a rush for a very very few, let's say, hours or moments in a day, but nothing is more important than human connection and meeting somebody in person. So it is, you should always remember that there's a, let's say, a mask that people wear on social media, and it's not the real human connection is what is real, and it is just a mask that people, and you really don't know who is sitting on the other side, right? So it is very important to give preference to social, as in human connection first. You need to reduce the number of hours that you spend on any kind of platform. It is important to once in a while go to a superstore to buy things, instead of ordering through one of these apps, so that you know what all products are available in the market, right? So these are some of the things, and it kind of stimulates your other senses also. Now when you are on social media, only your eyes is working, only your hearing, the sense is active. But when you actually go to a supermarket, your tactile senses are working, your nose is, your smell is working. So all of that it's getting stimulated as well. So it's very important to be active that way, and reduce your time, the screen time, which is going to definitely affect, improve your overall cognitive activity. So yes, like I said, social media can gnaw at our insecurities and suck us in, but at its core, it's about good in the world, seeing it in ourselves, recognizing it in others, passing it on. It allows us to get a little closer, a little more empathetic, a little nearer to who we truly want to be. And brands have the opportunity to connect with us if they are willing to be human along with us, with all the messiness, anxieties, and joys that comes with that. So with that, I have come to the conclusion of the session. I'm really sorry for being a little messy with my presentation, because I'm using phone. There are so many messages that are coming, from WhatsApp, from other website, apps. So my concentration was going a lot in just discarding those messages. So I'm really sorry if the presentation went a little haywire, but I'm open to questions. We can definitely have a discussion here.
Yeah. Thank you, Atulya. It was a wonderful session. No need to sorry. It was a wonderful
No,
session.
I planned a little bit more, more. I didn't know it would go this way, because, like I said, my attention was just getting diverted with so many messages were coming from here and there. So many calls were also coming. So I was thinking, I don't know, suddenly all of these calls also had to come.
We understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, friends, we can interact with Atulya. Any doubts, or I can give positive comments about today's session?
Munaza, go ahead.
Right. I wanted to say, Atulya, modern problems need modern solutions. So we know things go wrong at the last moment. Sometimes I had a similar issue when I was giving the
Yeah.
session. And the best part is that you found a solution and we were able to see your presentation. In spite of how you probably wanted it to be, it didn't turn out that way, but I think we made the most of what we could.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming up with that solution. I think
So
it needs, like, it takes
it
quick
was
thinking and you were able to do that, so thank you so much, and I absolutely loved it. Like, there are so many things you covered here, the physiology, the psychology, all of it, and I think it gave us answers to a lot of questions. So
right.
thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you, Munaza, for being so positive. So
No,
I
no, no, we really enjoyed it. Thank you. Yeah.
no problem. There is a video that I would like to show. I wanted to show. I don't know. Somehow it did not come up again here. I would probably send the link on the group so that everybody can watch it. It's a beautiful video on how exactly our brain works when there's a mindless scrolling that happens, and how we can come out of it. And this is a video which actually shows de-addiction from using social media, and what happens on day one, what happens on day two, what happens on day three. By day five, you're actually out of this entire addiction. It's a beautiful video, and I think everybody should watch it. So we understand the physiology of how things change, during the de-addiction part, and how we become, active like how we used to be pre this whole addiction. So yes, I'm again sorry.
I think Kalyani ma'am is having some doubt, or she want
Oh,
to
no.
Yeah,
I would just like to say it was a wonderful session, Miss Atulya. I think I really liked it because it's the need of the hour. And I deal with teenagers who are going through this, a lot of addiction of social media. It's quite a challenge to, like a lot of parents have this issue that they're not able to wean them off. Social media. It's a major major problem actually. See, and as adults at least we have maybe some control, and like we know like when to use it, when not, but for teenagers it's becoming a major issue for parents to keep them off. So I think, yeah, I have been trying a few remedies or suggestions, but yeah, it's still a challenge. So you've covered a lot, all the points. It was a very good session. I mean, it's really something we all need to deal with and think about. Thank you so much for the session, and yeah, it was very good. You've covered a lot of points. We really enjoyed it, and very useful, very informative. Thank you so much. And yeah, I hope you share the video and the content, so we'll also apply whatever you have suggested.
Definitely. Kalyani ma'am, as a suggestion, I would say that what we are forgetting as parents and, guides or counselors,
Hmm.
with teenagers especially, is that we're forgetting to take them out. It's
Yes,
so important to get them involved in one of the
yes,
physical activities. It's so important that they get involved.
yes,
They go out more often. And
correct.
honestly, I'm a mother as well. I have a 11-year-old daughter. So once she steps out of the house, it's difficult to get
Yes.
back. So
Okay.
the whole it's just a push that is needed. Once they get involved and they meet the other children, it is actually difficult to bring that. And it actually takes me back to my childhood when
True.
going out and playing was the only option that we had, and we
True.
used to thoroughly enjoy and wait for the vacations to happen, or to come back from school to go out to play and meet your friends. And and as age progresses, once you are done with your childhood, then you enter the teenage, and the topic of discussion changes from just be friends to the crushes and all of that. So
True.
that, I think, the current generation definitely lacks. So it's so important to put them in one or the other kind of sports, or
True.
anything, make them,
Physical activity. Yeah.
yeah, physical
Yeah.
activity, and also
And take
them.
them out and show them places, take them around, expose them
Absolutely.
to different places. See, this is something, I mean, one of the best ways. I'm sure what you suggested. Yeah, I've been telling that, but parents keep saying we don't have the time, like weekends is the only thing they have if they're working. And yeah, but I think they should put in that effort, if you want your child to be mentally healthy. So I think that's one thing they should, spend time with children, take them
Absolutely.
out. Yes.
So a couple of parents, because I conduct a lot of parent sessions for parents as well, workshops for parents as well. A lot of parents come and tell me that their child doesn't read.
Mm,
So one
that's
of the
another thing.
they've forgotten to read. What they read
True.
is all from the internet, and I wouldn't say that's wrong, because there's a lot of information on the net as well. But
Yes.
reading from books is a long forgotten activity, and
Yes.
all of our knowledge is probably from the language that we developed over the years. All come from reading.
Reading.
One thing but I suggest is it's mirroring. Children mirror us.
Yes.
So
Modeling.
it's modeling, and when we start
When we
reading,
read, yeah, they read.
you
Yes.
know that okay, so mama is reading or papa is reading or whoever
Absolutely. Absolutely.
so they kind of understand. You need to show them you are the example that they are looking up to. So
Absolutely.
if
Yeah.
it's not happening at home, then you expect your child to suddenly start
True.
reading, and you are sitting on the phone, it really doesn't work.
True. True.
So
Like,
that's
even screen time, the more we do that, they observe, and they say it's
the
validation that it's okay, and
exact.
that's how it goes. Yeah. Yeah.
During COVID, of course, I understand we did not have an option of going
Option.
out. Yeah, but I did a couple of corporate sessions where the parents, all of them were working, and sadly, what happened during COVID is there was no end. There was no logging out. There was only logging
Mm.
in, and the managers would call them at at random odd hours. So nobody was logging out of their system. So I was telling them, make sure that you log out. There is a time when you end it.
Yes.
And you spend the rest of the time with your family, so that kids know that parents, even you're at home, you are there for them. So these are things like somebody had rightly mentioned, imitation is a huge
Yes.
that's how children learn. Modeling is
Yes. Yes.
something,
Modeling.
mirroring is something. Yes. So these are some of the things as parents I think we need to start inculcate, not just as parents, as guides, as counselors, as teachers. I
True.
think
True.
we
True.
doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very. Yeah. Very true. Very true. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you, Kalyani ma'am. Yeah, in chat box also a lot of positive comments, Atulya. I think no other doubts. It was a fantabulous session. We thoroughly enjoyed Need of the Hour. Yeah, Merlin, are you there? You can go for VOT. Merlin, are you there? Just a minute.
Sundarji, I think she's not there.
Okay, sir. Then you can go for VOTC.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Satulya. It was a nice, wonderful, enlightening session about the reality check in social media. You gave a lot of points, inputs for the not only for the parents like counselors, mentor, guide. So it is a very good takeaway from this today's session. We learned a lot. As you said, the kids are copying from the parenting. So parenting is a very good, in fact, yeah, session or topic or module. So they have to follow it. So we learned a lot, and rightly pointed out the COVID times. The work-life balance are missing, so all people are working 24/7, even though they are in home. So work from home, it is actually miss the work-life balance.
it's a very bad idea. Once in a while, I
Yeah,
think it's okay, but work from home is. I personally am. I'm not a. I'm absolutely against work from home, because this is this social networking, interacting with your colleagues, meeting them in person is very very important in becoming a social person. So they should take away work from home, unless of course it was an advantage for new mothers, and pregnant definitely employees, or it did definitely have its own advantage, and people who had people elderly to take care, really young children to take care of, but it has its own flip side also.
yeah. Thank you for that additional information. So kindly accept our gratitude on behalf of the organizers, Manasa Sukkara Mindcare Center Hyderabad and Yellow Pan Counseling Center Hyderabad and Forest Creative Studio Punjab. Thank you once again. I would like to thank you all, to all the participant organizers and the resource person today. Thank you, one and all. Participants, we will have another wonderful session next Friday, same time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Tulia. Thank you, friends. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.